The Cadillac Escalade has always been the pinnacle of GM's luxury brand. And with automotive manufacturers moving towards EVs, GM has put their best car forward. This might actually be better than a Rolls Royce. Welcome to Autolab. Now, the Escalade IQ comes in 4 different trims: the Sport 1, Sport 2, the Luxury 1, and the Luxury 2. The Luxury 2 being the highest and gives you the best luxury and performance. Now, there are some key differences with it, at least physically. On the luxury trims, all of these little accent trims would be silver, whereas on the sport trims, they would become black. And to assist with those chrome and black trims, there's a variety of colors that you can get this vehicle in. This one being the Summit White, and the vehicle behind us being the Midnight Steel Frost. Me personally, I'm a fan of the Midnight Steel Frost, and if you're feeling really adventurous, you can option it with a black roof. Me personally, I'm gonna go with the black roof. Now, Cadillac had to redesign the front grille for this vehicle because, well, there's really no longer a need for it since it's gone to a full EV motor. And they've come up with this new design with this gloss black with this chevron pattern that basically has leading lines straight up to their illuminated crest. And because there's no longer an engine, we actually have a very, very spacious trunk, probably the largest I have seen on any EV. While we're on the exterior of the car, there were a lot of design choices that Cadillac made to give this its 460-mile range while still weighing 8,000 pounds and giving you 750 horsepower. For one, these wheels actually have baffles designed into them so that way it doesn't create any turbulent air, basically creating a shield around the tire. And then they also added this little fin here to the spoiler of the car that basically allows the air to just come straight back, and rather than getting sucked up inside the spoiler, it just molds it to go straight down the back of the car. While we're at the rear of the car, let's go ahead and hop inside. To get in, you just have to hold down on that little crest. You have to hold down on it for a little bit just because they don't want it to accidentally open up as you're inside of a car wash. But while we're back here, you can see that there's plenty of space here for your average grocery run. But if you want to, you can hold down these buttons to drop down those seats, and then you have plenty of space for your kids' football gear or soccer gear or whatever you really want. And then to bring them up, you can just bring them back up, and they will just automatically raise if they don't get stopped by the second row seats. Now, like I said earlier, this might feel like a Rolls Royce, and that's because of this one really cool trick where the doors automatically open. Let's hop inside. Now, as we're inside the car, all I have to do is step on the brake pedal and the door will automatically close. However, if I don't feel like doing that, I can use this infotainment little panel here, which we'll get into in a second. Because first, I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that's this massive 55-inch screen that goes from A-pillar to A-pillar. It wraps around everything, giving you the gauge cluster for the driver, the infotainment for your driver, your passengers, and then a screen over on the right side for my passenger, which is actually polarized, so that way I can't see it while I'm driving, but my passenger can sit there and watch movies. Now, going back to the infotainment, there is no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in this car. It is fully using Google's implementation of their car infotainment, whatever you like to call it. But that means that you at least get the Play Store so you can sign in, download your Google Chrome web browser or whatever, but you still get Spotify or Google Maps or anything like that if you were to go in and download them. And well, I'll say I'm not the biggest fan about that because Google could just outright stop giving updates for this car. And I do wish that it would take advantage of Apple CarPlay, especially their newer Apple CarPlay, since it would take advantage of all of the screens, specifically this control screen down here. And that would be a lot nicer. But this does still have a very good implementation of it. Now, coming back down to this control screen, this is where you can handle a lot of various things about your car. It's actually where you handle your lights, your doors, and everything like that, and even your universal remotes for your garage. It's also how you turn on your heated, ventilated, and massaging seats, which are surprisingly very comfortable. But you also get many other different controls that you can pin for your lights inside the car, your lights outside the car, and you can pin up to 3 favorites down here, so you can have your cameras, your lane keep assist, or, like I said, your interior lights, or my personal favorite, the door controls, because then I can open the door for anybody that's coming up, since I can open and close each and every door on this car automatically. Now, while you're driving, all of these screens might get a little distracting, especially when you're up on the highway and trying to turn on your massage seats through all of these little menus, and it takes forever to load. So good thing this actually comes with Super Cruise. And what's really nice about that, especially in Chevys or Cadillacs or any other GM car, is that you don't have to keep your hands on the steering wheel like you would in a Tesla. You can actually just take your hands right off the wheel, and this little sensor down here will actually keep track of my eyes to make sure I'm focused on the road, and that Super Cruise is actually pretty good. Actually, one of the Cadillac reps here has been living with this specific vehicle for almost a year now, and he said that as he's just driving down the highway, a lot of times as it's passing like a big semi-truck or a lorry, it will actually kind of veer over to the left and go into the white or the yellow side of the line and get right up close to that line, so that way there's plenty of room between him and that bigger truck. Now, while we're on the interior, let's actually talk about a lot of the luxury options that this vehicle comes with, specifically in the Luxury 2, because honestly, this vehicle is a very, very nice place to be. There's two different interior color options that you can get, this Harbor Blue or a Camilla Tan, and I gotta be honest, maybe I'm just partial to the blue color, but I prefer the Harbor Blue. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that you can option in the back, specifically rear seat infotainments, which are $2,000, or you can just option the full thing with the executive package, which is $10,000, gives you the infotainment screens and a rear floor console that allows you to control basically everything else that you really need. It actually gives you speakers in your headrests, but just like the front row. It really takes that front row luxury and brings it to the second row seats. But this vehicle isn't optioned with any of that stuff, so what this vehicle has is no infotainment screens, but we do still have this control screen down here that allows us to open and close our doors or just control our infotainment, but it's a little laggy. And there's a lot more stuff, like there's these little laser trimmed accents here on the door panel and all of these nice wood trims that they have all throughout the vehicle. And all of that's part of that Luxury 2 trim, so it really takes that step above that Luxury 1. On that Luxury 1, you don't get the automatic opening and closing doors, but on the Luxury 2, you get all of those features, and it truly is a house on wheels. Now, if you don't feel like paying $2,000 for the rear infotainment screens or $10,000 for the rear center console, all you really have to do is recline your chair, listen to the 36-speaker AKG system, and look through this magnificent moonroof. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather do this. So as you can see, this vehicle really takes that up step to luxury, making it feel very opulent, like a house on wheels, like I said. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to click up here, you can click on the playlist for all of our other videos here at the Chicago Auto Show, or you can click down here to subscribe and get notified on all of our other videos.